when it comes to people's opinions of you, sometimes when people care so much, and this is when you did care, sometimes when people care so much about another person's opinion of them, it can lead to a certain level of stress. It can lead to anxiety. It can lead to depression. Worst case, suicidal thoughts. These are health issues someone deals with when they care so much about another person's opinion of them. Have you ever faced any of these obstacles when you did care?
I thought about not killing myself, not suicide or no shit like that, but I thought about, all right, like if I die, would these people feel differently? You know what I'm saying? Like, would they make them feel differently? Or if I die and they do start to feel differently, is the reason that they feel different because I just died? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do they truly care? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's I faced that situation. You know what I'm saying? I thought a lot about that. It's just different shit. That shit really can stress you out though. You know what I'm saying? Your appearance and shit like that. You think, you thinking like, what these people think about me. You know what I'm saying? They think I'm ugly. So I feel like these drugs just make me numb to, people take drugs and shit like that. These drugs make me numb to what these people saying. You know what I'm saying? When I get high, some shit like that, I smoke my weed or whatever. That shit just block out like a shield. You know what I'm saying? But you can't turn to shit like that all the time. Cause that shit turn out bad. People get addicted to shit. People go downhill. People die, overdose, all type of shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like anybody that's got suicidal thoughts, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like just take it slow, take it one day at a time, you know what I'm saying? Fuck what people think, take it one day at a time and just find what makes you happy, you know what I'm saying? Focus on making you happy and not what the next person think about you, So that's what I got to say about that.
And have you personally, when it comes to self-medication, when it comes to, because you mentioned you did get high once or twice maybe over caring about another person's opinion of you, when it comes to self-medication there, it can lead to an addiction. Have you ever been addicted to a drug?
I used to be addicted to Lortabs. Yeah, like very, like, I used to take a lot of them bitches, you know what I'm saying? And that shit just, it used to make, I guess it was like courage, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just make me feel where I need to be, It just put me to a point where I needed to be, but that shit started fucking with me. Like, I got dehydrated. I had a drink problem too, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit fucked over me. I had drunk so much of this shit, that shit had just dried me out. My fucking hands and shit was yellow. I had like cotton mouth like for days, like, you know what I'm saying? It was fucked up. It's a fucked up feeling, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't go to the bathroom right and shit. Like, I was fucked up. They had to put an IV. I was in the hospital for like 2 days. They put an IV and shit on my arm and shit. I had to get fluids and shit back in my body because I was doing all them fucking drugs and shit and I wasn't drinking no water. I got dehydrated and shit. You know what I'm saying? But I was drinking water, but not as much as I should have, so the water, I guess that shit just gone. The drugs took that water out of my body and it was just a fucked up feeling. Yeah, but never again. I shook that shit though. Like, that's why I say I stopped caring about what people thought, And once I did that shit, I overcame a lot of shit, bro. I ain't lying.
And when you're talking about drink, you're referring to cough syrup?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to break some of these elements down a little bit more deeper. When it came to, which one were you addicted to first? Was it the Lortabs or the cough syrup?
Lortabs.
Okay, how were you first introduced to Lortabs? How did you even get started with that?
I got this homeboy, his brother, his brother, my other homeboy, you know what I'm saying? Me and him were close also. He had a Lortab addiction at first, and I never understood it. I always thought like, damn, like, that'll never be me. I'd never be addicted to anything. I'm too strong-minded for that shit. But one day, he gave me a Lortab. This one had the blue ones. The blue, they don't make the blue Lortabs no more. But this one, the blue ones was out. He gave me one, and that bitch just made me feel like a way I never felt before. Like it was like a pain pill. It is a pain pill, but it was just like, damn, like, you know what I'm saying? This bitch, I guess it's the opioids, you know what I'm saying? Because the opioid addiction is very real, man. That shit is real. Like when I got off of them, I was getting sick. You know what I'm saying? Because I guess my body was so used to taking them. So when I stopped, when I transitioned into not taking them, I just was like, you know, I guess with withdrawals, you know what I'm saying? Like I was fucked up. Like my body was changing and shit like that. Like I was throwing up. Like it's like I had to take them. You know what I'm saying? So I just had to fucking detox and all type of shit. Like, you know, but he introduced me to him. I can't say he introduced me to him. I introduced myself to him, but he had access to him, you know what I'm saying? And it just started from there. I just took one, and then I guess my tolerance started getting higher and higher, so it went from one to I was taking fucking 5 of them and shit like that at one time and shit, you know? But a lot of people take drugs for different reasons, you know what I'm saying? At that time, I was just going through a lot, you know, and that's what solved it. Like, that's what helped me cope with the pain, you know what I'm saying, the shit I was dealing with. It just made me feel like, it was like hope, you know what I'm saying? Like damn near, like it's sad to say, for me to say that shit, but I'm gonna keep it real, you know what I'm saying? It was like some type of hope, like, you know, like it just made me feel better about myself. But I'm glad I overcame that shit though.
And we'll talk about the overcome in a second, but just for clarification, because you said you were introduced to it yourself, but then you involved this person with the introduction.
I got it from him. So I seen him doing it. He was already addicted. He was taking like fucking 10, 15 at a time. Like I never seen no shit like this in my life. Like I said, it started with one. I want to say, I think my head was hurting or some shit like that. That's how I got the first one. But the way it made me feel, it stopped the headache, but it made everything else feel better too. So shit, every time he went to go get something, I was putting my money where his and going to get him too. So
when he would take 10 or 15 at one time, how would he do that?
No clue. Yeah, this is not no exaggeration. He take 10 or 15 of them, and he used to get a Sprite, all of them down, and he used to chew them like, I don't know, like he liked it. Like it's a nasty taste to chew a pill. He used to chew them, like, you know what I'm saying? And he used to, after he was fucked up, like he was out of here. He was loaded, you know what I'm saying? Like high as hell. He used to forget shit, you know what I'm saying? Forget people and shit. He forgot Christmas one day, you know what I'm saying? Like we celebrated Christmas with this dude, like, you know, and he was high at the time. I guess he took some more of them like the next day, the day after Christmas, and he thought he forgot Christmas, and he thought we let him miss Christmas and all type of shit. It was fucked up. You know, like I say, it's a sad situation, but you never know what somebody going through. It helps some people, you know what I'm saying, at that time. When
you took 5 at one point,
I was too high, bro.
How would you take those 5?
I ain't take them all at one time, but I take one, and probably like 5 minutes later, I probably take another one. So in probably like an hour, I just take about 5 of them, you know what I'm saying? Kind of space it out instead of just taking all of them at one time, because I ain't want to die or no shit like that.
And again, for clarification purposes, was the cough syrup addiction and the Lortab addiction, they were done separately?
Yeah.
At 2 different points in your life? You never did cough syrup and Lortab at the same time? Okay.
I have access to both of them at the same time.
Okay, so the Lortab, again, just for clarification, one more time. When you have this headache, is he like, hey, just take one of these? Or are you like, let me take one of those for this headache?
That's what I did. That's what it was. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, hey, I said, I know they for pain. I always knew they were for pain, you know what I'm saying? I got a headache, so I took it. The first time I took it, I liked it, you know, so.
Did he try to stop you at all? Hey, don't take this. It's not good for you.
Not at all.
Did he encourage it?
Not at all.
Okay.
I mean, he just gave it. I actually bought it, though. He didn't give it to me. I bought it. I paid him for it. So
when the addiction started, was it right away? Was it instant, or did time progress in your life for the addiction to kick in? If you can remember.
It took time. It took time. Like it wasn't right away that I was addicted to him. I want to say like it was like a feeling that I remember. Like as I was taking, I'd probably take like one a day or some shit like that, and then I stopped. And I think when I stopped, it was just like a feeling that I missed. And then like at that time, it was just like all bad timing. I just started going through a lot of shit, and then that's how I wanted to feel. You know what I'm saying? Instead of me feeling fucked up and mad and angry and shit like that, I'd rather take this tab and just feel this way. You know what I'm saying? And just block out all the other shit.
So instead of using the lower tabs to deal with whatever you were facing, this almost acted like this was almost like okay, instead of taking this and dealing with the problem at hand, whatever the problem was that you were facing, this deflected or deterred you from the problem, and you would still have to face this problem anyways. This was almost like procrastinating from the problem.
Most definitely. Bullshitting yourself for a period of time, you know what I'm saying? Because when you sober up, guess what? Fucking problem's still there, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I started to realize. Like the more I started taking this shit I was taking, I'm like, damn, it's solved it temporarily, you know what I'm saying? But like shit, when the drugs were down, when that shit all over with, shit, I gotta face these problems back again.
With the timetable, right here that we're building, at what point in time do you start to get addicted to it? Was it a month after the first time you take it? Was it 3 months after 6 months, a year? When do you think that
I want to say like it stretched for like 6 months. Like, you know, it started getting slow. Like it started gaining. It went from, you know, hey, just give me one of these to give me 5 of these. And, you know, I was buying them bitches about 100 and shit like that. Like then I started buying scripts and shit. I wasn't taking them bad like that, but I just had to always have them. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't want to run out and keep looking for them and shit. So I always just racked up on them. You know what I'm saying?
When you said you had to buy a script, does that mean you actually go see a doctor and get a prescription?
Nah, it be like old people and shit like that be needing the money for their bills and shit. So like they'll sell you their script, you know, pay them whatever, you know, whatever they want. Probably like I was getting them bitches for like, I guess the old people ain't know what the fuck they was doing. So like I was getting like 120, sometimes 75 for like $150, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the math on that shit not even right, you know? Like at the time it was like $5 a pill, you know what I'm saying? So the amount that I was getting, I wasn't supposed to be getting that much, you know what I'm saying?
And this was for your own personal use. You would never deal yourself.
Nah, I was selling them too.
You were?
Yeah, I was selling them too.
Why?
Shit, that's when the money rolling in. I wasn't rapping then, you know what I'm saying? And the DJ shit, that shit wasn't bringing enough money in at the time. So, shit, that's doing, I was selling weed, I was doing all type of shit, you know what I'm saying? But I overcame all that shit, like I say.
And we'll talk about that again here in a second. But how does one find a script to buy? How does one find these elderly people to get that from?
That's common in the hood. You can always find, it's always an old person somewhere selling their medication and some shit like that. That's very common.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And this was in Baton Rouge?
Yeah. Yeah, especially in Baton Rouge. Old people sell you anything out there. Yeah.
Did you ever get arrested for taking the drug or selling it?
Never. I never been to jail for selling no drugs and no shit like that.
And is lower tabs a gateway to experiment with other drugs?
I don't feel like it, because I feel like when I reached a certain point, when I took too many of them, I ain't like that shit, you know what I'm saying? I like the feeling that they give you, but too much of it is, I don't feel like that's a gateway.
Now, was this addiction that you had, and how long did the actual addiction last?
Well, I want to say summer 2016. Summer 16 into summer 18.
About 2 years.
About 2 years. 2 strong years.
Was this something you kept to yourself, or the original person that gave you the first Lortab? Did your close friends know you had this addiction? Did your mother know you had this addiction? Before we talk about the overcoming portion.
My mama knew. But as far as everybody else, I just used to tell them, like, you know, like, it was problems with a body part or some shit like that. Like, oh, my elbow, I fucked my elbow up, some shit like that. That's why I take them. You know, I got a script. I used to lie about it and shit like that. But one day, my mama found a Ziploc. I had a big ass Ziploc bag. I want to say, like, I had like 300 tabs. I had some Percocet. I had all type of shit in the bag, and she found the bag. She was gonna throw it away, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I forgot where I was. I think I was at a bitch house or some shit like that, and she called me and told them she found the pills and shit like that. And I was telling them, like, nah, they fake, you know what I'm saying? I just had to get home and just get my shit, you know what I'm saying? But she ain't throw it out. She ain't throw it out or no shit like that. I just got it out of the house, you know what I'm saying? And then that shit just, I got a close family relative, you know what I'm saying, that also had a drug problem. So that's what kind of just started making me step away from that shit, you know what I'm saying? Because that shit was at home, you know what I'm saying? And I seen I was doing the same thing that I felt some type of way about, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, like, that make me a fucking hypocrite, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel some type of way about you doing this, but I'm doing this. I may not be doing this hard ass drug, but in a form, it's the same thing, you know?
What drug were they on?
I'd rather not say. It was just some, you know, I don't know. I just skip that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when your mom found the bag, did she think you were just selling it, or did she know you were on them yourself?
Nah, she thought I was selling them. She thought I was selling them. I mean, I was, but not all of them, you know what I'm saying? I was selling some of them, but not all of them.
But eventually she finds out that you're actually using them.
Yep.
And in this 2-year timetable, at what point in the 2 years does she find out you're addicted?
I want to say she been new. You know what I'm saying? Cause your mama know shit. Like, moms know shit, you know. So I want to say that she kind of had a feeling. Alright, cause like she used to like throw like little slangs at me, like, you know, like, I don't know what you been taking and shit like that, but blah blah blah. You gotta be careful. Like, she just started saying it more and more and more. So I feel like she kind of caught on. I don't know how, you know what I'm saying, but I feel like she kind of, I guess it's like a mother's intuition thing, like.
But did she ever outright confront you about it? Hey, you need to stop.
Yeah, she did.
We need to intervene on this.
She did. She told me.
How'd she do it?
She really just set me down, like, you know, like, she was just like, there's other ways to deal with problems and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't gotta turn to the drugs and shit like that. But like I say, shit, for them 2 years, that's what I knew. Like, that's what made me feel better about shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it was just a phase that I went through. But I don't.
This other relative that did another drug, did they know you were on this drug? Did they ever find out you were addicted to a drug yourself?
Nah, I don't think they cared that much, you know. But I can't say that they cared. I can't say that they didn't care that much, but I feel like the drugs made them not care about what I had going on too much. You know what I'm saying?
Was your mother the only one in your inner circle or immediate family that intervened or tried to do this intervention to get you to realize what's going on or to stop taking this drug?
Yeah, because she was the only one I really told. Like, at first she assumed, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, she told me stop taking whatever she told me I need to slow down whatever I'm taking, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of, like, you know, told her, like, you know, I'm taking this shit because I feel this type of way. I'm taking this, I kind of explained it to her. You know what I'm saying? And then I guess as I explained it, it kind of made more sense to her. And then we just came up with a solution, just how I should just stop taking them. I just feel like she helped me though. She helped me a lot. She helped me stop taking them. You know, her way, and just it's just like disappointment in her eyes. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that was something that really made me stop taking them. It's just me letting her down, you know, and I didn't want to do that.
So now we're talking about the overcome in this interview. Now, how did you actually do it? How did you get off this Lortab addiction?
I started smoking more weed. Cause it's like I started smoking more weed. I wasn't smoking that much weed when I was taking them because I was already fucking high, you know what I'm saying? So when I stopped taking them, I just started smoking way more weed. Like, and that's really what kind of, it balanced it out. I was like, I don't need that shit. I just tell myself like, you know, you don't need it. You know, it's fucking over, it's killing you, you know what I'm saying? It may not seem like it, but in the long run, you're gonna wish you wouldn't have been taking them bitches, you know what I'm saying?
Now, sometimes I've heard of an addiction leading to another addiction. Did marijuana become an addiction in it of itself?
I want to say it kind of did. And then I stopped smoking. Like one day I just like, I didn't want to smoke no more. I started smoking cigarettes and everything. Like just after I stopped taking the tabs and shit, I started smoking cigarettes. I told myself I'd never smoke a cigarette day in my life, but I just had the fucking urge to smoke cigarettes for some strange reason, like, you know what I'm saying? And I had to stop that shit. So I stopped myself from smoking cigarettes. Stopped myself from smoking as much weed. Like, I don't smoke that much weed no more. I smoke a blunt, and I be high as fuck, like, these days, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
How long did the cigarette addiction, tobacco addiction last for?
That lasted a year. I want to say, yeah, a year, a strong year. At first, it was just like I just go to the store, buy a single, then it started turning into packs, and then it started turning. It went from fucking Newports to Camels. You know, that's some strong bitches. I just had to stop that shit like completely. Like I just felt my body like. You feel that shit, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You feel that shit wearing down your body. You feel your throat change and all type of shit. I was trying to teach myself. I was in the process of doing singing lessons and shit when I started smoking cigarettes, and I couldn't hit certain notes, or I couldn't. My breath, it was fucking over me. You know what I'm saying? So I had to make a change and just quit everything.
So for clarification, as you're getting the Lortab addiction over with, was it cigarettes first or marijuana first?
Well, I had never stopped. I had always been smoking.
Marijuana.
I had always been smoking.
Okay.
I always been smoking.
Before
weed.
the Lortabs. Okay.
I always been smoking. The cigarettes, this was after I stopped taking them and shit. It just, I guess it's like something that I was just nicking for, like, you know what I'm saying? I just had to smoke. I don't know, it was just like a certain feeling that the cigarettes gave.
Prior to that, you had never smoked a cigarette?
Never, ever. Never. Like, hate the smell of them. You know what I'm saying? Can't stand to be around them.
Do you know what led to the cigarette? Was it a friend that had a cigarette and you just wanted one? Or did you go to the store and see him and just tried one, or what?
I think I was in the club and I was drunk. And one of my homeboys had a cigarette. My homeboy Mook. And I'm like, man, give me one of them bitches. He's like, man, you smoke no fucking cigarettes. I'm like, man, just give me that bitch, you hear me? And I just smoked it and I just couldn't put them down after that. After that one night. It was like, damn, like, the smell didn't bother me or nothing, you know what I'm saying, when I was smoking. It was just, I don't know. That shit crazy, bro. Shit crazy.
You think the alcohol or the club atmosphere had something to do with that?
Most definitely. I just feel like then I wasn't smoking weed in there that night. So I feel like the cigarette was, you know, kind of gave me what I was missing, you know what I'm saying? But that shit ain't the way to go, bro. Cigarette, that shit, nah. I had to stop that shit. That's a nasty ass habit.
Was the cigarette addiction instant, or was it kind of?
That was instant. Like after I was getting the singles and shit like that, like it was just getting more and more. Like I used to smoke like fucking 3 packs a day. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's fucking, I don't even know how many cigarettes in a pack, but I was buying them bitches, smoking them bitches back to back to back to back to back.
How'd you stop the cigarette addiction?
I just stopped it.
Cold turkey?
Cold just stopped that shit, bro.
The
like,
flip of a light switch?
Man, I just stopped it. I put him down. I'm like, I'm not buying this shit no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just stopped it.
Did anyone intervene with the cigarette addiction? Did anyone see you getting it?
My homeboys and shit, they made me, they know I don't smoke no fucking cigarettes like that. You know what I'm saying? So they used to tell me, and then my girl, she found a fresh ass pack of cigarettes, but she balled all of them up and shit like that. And I'm like, man, I ain't finna go buy another pack of cigarettes. Like, fuck that shit. So I just stopped smoking them. Like, it just stopped, like, instantly. Like, it wasn't no nicotine patch or no gum or no shit like that. I ain't feel the urge to smoke them and then I just stopped that shit.
And these guys tried to intervene and get you to stop, or they would just say some stuff?
Nah, they made me stop. Like, you know, they said shit too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you stop smoking fucking cigarettes, and then they used to be playing about cancer and shit like that. Like, you know, even though they smoke the cigarettes, they just don't want me smoking. You know what I'm saying? But I respect that shit, you know, because that's what real friends do.
Was your girlfriend a smoker?
No.
No marijuana, no cigarettes?
She smoke weed sometime, like, with me, you know, but otherwise, she don't really smoke.
Was your mother aware of the cigarette addiction?
My mama smoked cigarettes, and my dad smoked cigarettes too.
They would smoke in the house or outside the house?
My dad never lived with us, but when I used to go to his house when I was little, he used to smoke cigarettes in the house, outside the house, in the truck.
What about your mom?
Nah, she always did it when I was never around, you know, because she never wanted me to see her smoke a cigarette.
But at some point, you knew or she knew, and
I kind of caught on to it, you know what I'm saying? So I was going through her stuff one day looking for some I think I was looking for my birth certificate or some shit, and I found some cigarettes in her drawer, and I asked about it, and then she just told me, you know.
Is she still a cigarette smoker today?
If she do it, she hide it. She don't let me know.
Did you try to ever intervene and get her to stop?
Most definitely. But you can't stop somebody from doing some shit. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not gonna always be around. You know, so there's gonna be times when you're not around that they're gonna do it anyway.
When you confront her about it, was this before the lower tab and your own personal cigarette addiction, or was this after?
This was after. This is after everything.
Were there any withdrawals with the cigarette after you stopped that?
Nah, it wasn't nothing. It wasn't, not like the tabs and shit. I wasn't getting sick or nothing like that. I actually felt way better, you know what I'm saying, like not smoking. Like the first week that I stopped smoking the cigarettes, my body just felt better, you know what I'm saying? I felt the difference, you know? And cigarettes just make you feel bad, like, you know?
Were you able to hit those notes that you weren't able to hit?
Now I am, since I stopped smoking them, now I am. That shit was fucking me up for real. Then I got bronchitis, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even supposed to be smoking this shit. I'm not even supposed to be smoking, period, you know what I'm saying? I fucking have asthma attacks, some shit like that. But I feel like since I got older, it's not as bad.
So would you say quitting cigarettes was easy or hard for you to do, looking back?
It was easy.
And that was your first time quitting and you were able to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we're talking about the cigarettes.
Yeah, that was my first time.
Now let's talk about the lower tab and finish that conversation. When it came to the withdrawals, you described what that was like. How long did the withdrawal period last for you?
I can't say. I wasn't really.
A month? 2 weeks?
I want to say.
A month and a half? 2 months?
Maybe about 4 months. Like, it was just like, I had to find other shit to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? I had to start drinking, like, I want to say drinking water kind of helped me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just something about just drinking a bunch of water until you just can't drink it no more. Like, if you feeling any type of way, like you feel like you want to drink or do anything like that, drink a bunch of water. That's just my opinion, you know what I'm saying? That's what helped me. I just drank a bunch of water till I couldn't drink it no more. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of helped me out. I ain't gonna say it kind of helped me out. It helped me out a lot.
During the withdrawal period, of the lower tabs, did you relapse at all?
Mm-mm. Not at all.
And how did you know when the withdrawal period was done? How did you know you beat the addiction, you were done with the addiction, it was over with?
I started gaining my weight back. I seen that it was like I was getting small because like when you take them, you don't really have no appetite or no shit like that. So I was barely fucking eating and shit, you know, like I wasn't starving myself, but you know what I'm saying, I eat, but it wasn't like I normally eat, cause I eat a lot of fucking food, you know what I'm saying? So I started seeing a weight gain.
How much weight do you think you gained? From that addiction? Yeah, after having no appetite, losing weight, how much?
I want to say when I was taking them, I weighed like 130, 130.
Rough estimate.
Yeah, about 130. I weigh like 155 now.
And this was your first time trying to quit?
Yep, first time I quit. First time trying to quit, ever trying. I quit. I feel like it's just it's a mind thing, you know what I'm saying? You really gotta be dedicated to stopping, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta think, you gotta be realistic with yourself, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, like I could die from this shit. Like you really have to be realistic with yourself, you know what I'm saying? If you don't be realistic with anybody else, be realistic with yourself, you know what I'm saying? You could die from that shit, like it's real, you could die. Yeah, shit crazy.
Looking back at the overcoming part of the addiction of lower tabs, was that easy or hard for you to do?
Say it again?
Looking back at overcoming the addiction, the withdrawals and dealing with that whole 4 months and quitting the lower tabs addiction, was that easy or hard for you to do, would you say?
It was a challenge. You know, I can't say it was a challenge. It wasn't easy. You know what I'm saying? It was just something that I just had to do though, you know. Like I programmed into my mind I gotta do this shit, you know. And then I feel like shit when I overcame that shit, I started thinking better, you know what I'm saying? Like started getting back on track with shit. At first I used to wake up like fucking 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock and shit, like in the evening and shit, like late. I started getting back up early. Like I wake up every day, 5 o'clock with no alarm or nothing. Every day, no matter what time I go to sleep. I can go to sleep at fucking 3 o'clock, I'm gonna wake up at 5:30, some shit like that, you know. And I get up and I plan and shit, check my email, book shows, do all type of shit, you know. So I feel like I'm more focused since I stopped this shit. I feel like I'm a better person.
You said people could die from this. Did you know anybody personally that died from it?
No, near death. You know what I'm saying? I had a couple friends that had seizures, kidney failure, shit like that. Like they didn't fucked over body parts and shit like that, but physically dying though.
From lower tabs?
From take opioid addictions.
But was it, because there's different opioids out there.
Well, the lower tab ones, you know, so the tabs.
Okay. And did you ever have an overdose with the lower tabs? Did you ever have go to a hospital?
Yeah, when that was one of the last times. That's one of the last times that's when I really said I had to stop this shit. You know what I'm saying? I always said I had to stop this shit in my head, but that particular day I was fucked up, bro. Like my fucking throat and shit, like it felt like it was closing. Like it was just all type of shit going on at the same time. Like I was feeling like sharp chest, like sharp chest pains. Like some shit was like fucking needles like moving through my chest and shit. Like it was bad. Like, and I just ain't want to feel like that ever again.
So you take yourself to the emergency room, or you call 911?
Yeah, I had took my it's Lane. I want to say Lane Memorial in Zachary. I had took myself out there. I drove myself out there, and I hadn't been drinking water and shit like that too. So it was like, I want to say like I almost down there overdosed, and I was dehydrated at the same time. So it was a lot going on, you know. So it's a fucked up feeling, bro. I ain't lying. It's some shit like I can't even explain all the feelings at one time, but it felt like death, like, you know.
Did you have to stay overnight at the hospital? Or?
Yeah, I stayed overnight. I didn't tell them what I did, though. You know what I'm saying? They just thought I was dehydrated or some shit like that.
Did they think this could be a drug situation or drug related, or?
No, they didn't. I don't even think they checked they didn't know what was going on. They just thought it was some type of dehydrated stomach virus shit going on, you know what I'm saying? Cause man, I kept trying to throw up, but wouldn't nothing come out. Like it was just like, and it started hurting like my stomach and shit, and like man, like my fucking throat and shit. Like it was just all type of shit, man. I had a blood clot. I coughed up like a blood clot, all type of shit. That shit was crazy.
Just one night in the hospital?
Yeah, just one night. And one night changed my ass. It changed me.
Why not keep it real with them?
Talking about the doctors?
Yeah, about the lower tabs. Why not say it?
Cause they ain't asked. it wasn't that I lied to them. It's just they never asked. They just asked me how I was feeling, and I told them. And then they just was like, well, dehydration. They just declared it dehydration, and they just kept me overnight. Cause they was like damn, like you really dehydrated. I want to say I went through like fucking what the packs called, the IV. What's it called? What the shit called in it? Damn, I can't think about it. They run through the IV. I had like 4 of them though. They gave me like 4 of those. I had to go through like four of those packs.
And aside from the weight loss, did you notice any other health issues during the addiction with the lower tabs?
Not sleeping. Not sleeping, and then when I did sleep, it was for a long ass time. And I wake up hungry, like extremely hungry, like it's crazy. Like I just be fucking starving. Like it's some crazy shit.
During the addiction, how much do you think you probably spent on all those lower tabs for your personal use?
I kind of made it. It's not. I wouldn't say I spent a lot because, like I said, I was selling them at the same time. So I was kind of like selling them to take them for free, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like I sell them, and then I just take some out of there, and then it's like I didn't pay for them at all. You know, so I was taking them for free. I really said I ain't spend too much in that on them. And
all the lower tabs you took or sold, were they authentic lower tabs?
Yeah. I never wanted to be the type of nigga that sell fake pills and no shit like that, because I wouldn't take that shit, you know what I'm saying? And then if you got the real shit, people gonna keep coming back to you because you got the real shit. Like, so I ain't never been a fan of selling anything fake.
Was it lucrative, the selling of it?
Very.
When you overcame the addiction, did you also stop selling it?
No. It took me about, like 4 months. 4 months after I stopped selling them, after 4 months. I didn't want to be a part of that shit no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't want to take them bitches and I ain't want to give them to nobody else. So I stopped all that shit. Like, I used to sell, man. I used to sell drink, weed. I used to sell all that shit, you know what I'm saying? Nobody ever knew that shit, you know, but it's just like, I stopped all that shit and I just started focusing on the music. And then when I started focusing on the music, everything else started falling in place. You know, because I feel like you can't do all this shit, bro. You can't be doing all that shit. You can't sell dope and want to be a full-time rapper. It's not going to work.
Why not?
You can't, you got to be all in on your music shit, you know what I'm saying? You can't be focusing on, you got to be in the studio, you know what I'm saying, working, and your mind got to be focused on making these songs or, you know what I'm saying, whatever you got to do, instead of being, because your focus will never be right, you know? So you'll be in the studio thinking like, damn, man, I got to get out these pounds, or I got to do this shit, you know what I'm saying? And you can't think about no good songs, so you wasting time in the studio because your mind's somewhere else. You can't do this shit one time.
With all the drugs you sold, they were all authentic?
Mm-hmm. Everything.
And just for clarification, when you stopped selling lower tabs 4 months after you overcome the addiction, did you also stop selling all the drugs, or you were still selling other drugs, just the lower tabs you stopped?
I stopped selling everything. I had to make a decision, you know what I'm saying? This shit it's hard to balance, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you can't do that shit, bro. Like I say, like either you gonna fuck with the music or you gonna fuck with the streets. You can't do both. You know what I'm saying? You can't have one foot in the streets and one foot in the music. It's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? The shit gonna come crumbling down. It's never gonna work.
Did you relapse with the drug selling stoppage?
Until I started doing it again?
Yeah.
I stopped it completely.
And when you stopped, was it the flip of a light switch, or was it a progression of time of stopping?
I got my first royalty check when I stopped. So it was like, damn, I'm spending all my money. I just feel like the selling drugs stopped making sense to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, I'm taking this chance. If I got $5,000 and I take this $5,000 and I go buy a bunch of dope, you know what I'm saying? And I go buy a bunch of dope. I no longer have $5,000. I only have $5,000 in drugs. So if the police take this shit and I go to jail, I'm out of $5,000 that I had and I'm in jail. So I need money for a lawyer. I need bond money. I need money for snacks and shit in this bitch, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need more money now, so I'm in a more fucked up position than I was before I came to this bitch, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I looked at it. I just felt like it was just a lose all the way around. I became the real, you know what I'm saying? Instead of going to re-up, I became it, you know? It cost me nothing to get on somebody's song or make a video, you know what I'm saying, or make some music. So I started selling, you know, myself. I became the product.
How much was that royalty check, the very first one?
I want to say that bitch was like $7,200. Like, yeah, like, because I had never registered my shit. I ain't know shit. I ain't know nothing about that when I first started rapping, like royalties and shit like that. Then when I sit down, I enrolled it. I got my ass cap and shit, and I got my sound exchange and all that. And I want to say it rolled over for like a year and a half. Like my shit wasn't all the way booming when I had first came out. You know what I'm saying? But they was doing numbers. You know, so that little check it just changed my whole outlook on everything. And I started just dropping my music because I seen that's where my money was coming from.
So that royalty check got you, is it safe to say that royalty check got you to stop the drug selling?
I didn't have to do it no more because the whole point of selling drugs was to make money to pay bills. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to sell drugs. I mean, they probably do got people in the world that want to sell drugs, but I didn't want to sell drugs. I just had to make shit work, you know what I'm saying, to pay bills. I didn't want to do that shit.
Did you ever feel guilt or remorse for selling the drugs?
Yeah. Yeah. I still do. For even, you know what I'm saying, even though I don't even do this shit no more, I still feel fucked up for doing this shit, you know.
Why?
Cause like, damn, like you ruining people's life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta think about that shit. That's somebody, whatever you selling, that's somebody mama, that's somebody daddy, that's somebody uncle, that's somebody loved one, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, damn, you selling them something to kill, like damn, they're killing them day by day. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, like, do that make me a murderer? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like on some shit like that. Like, I started thinking about shit like that. I still think about shit like that. You know? So I still feel bad about this shit.
Do you know anyone that died that you sold to?
Never.
Did you ever sell to any of your family members?
Yeah. Yep. Shit crazy.
How did that happen?
Cousins and shit, I don't really fuck with. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit, you wanna buy some shit, I sell it to you. But then I think I just started just getting older and I started maturing, you know what I'm saying? And just started seeing that shit was wrong, you know.
You knew they were already taking these drugs, or you're introducing them to these drugs?
I never introduced nobody to that. They was already doing it, you know what I'm saying? I just happened to have it at the time that they was doing it, so I never introduced nobody to nothing.
You ever apologize to anybody you sold drugs to?
Nah. I don't feel the need. I never felt the need to apologize. I felt bad, but I never felt the need to apologize.
And just curious, were you ever afraid that even though you overcame the lower tab addiction, still selling them and seeing them, did you ever think you would relapse just off of that? Like, because you still have them in your possession up to 4 months later. Mm-hmm. Was that ever a thought? Okay, if I'm going to overcome this, I don't even want to sell lower tabs. I may sell other drugs, but just not the lower tabs.
I started giving them to my homeboy. Like, he was selling them. That's how I stopped completely. I didn't want them in my sight. You know what I'm saying? Because I probably would have relapsed if I would have had them still. So like when I stopped, I gave them to him. I just handed that shit down to him. And that's how I was selling them. And he just used to bring me the money for it, and I used to pay him for selling them.
The time you cold turkey stopped selling drugs, did you get rid of all your drugs by selling them and that's how you stopped? Or how does that process work when you make the decision to stop? What do you do with the rest of the drugs?
Everything went for sales. It was fucking deals on shit. You can get 2 for, 2 for 1, 3 for 2, all type of shit. It just had to go. Everything must go. It was a fucking blowout sale, you know what I'm saying? So I had to get rid of everything. So, and quick, you know what I'm saying? So if I would have sold it for the price that it normally go for, I probably would have had it a little bit longer. So I just had to get all that shit gone.
Whether it was the selling of the drugs or the lower tab addiction or the cigarette addiction, what did you learn from this experience? What did you take away from this experience, thinking back?
You don't need nothing to make you feel like a better person. Like, you don't need nothing. No type of drug. All you need is you. Like, you know what I'm saying? You just gotta have a strong mind. Like, that's just really what I got out of it. You don't need that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you can get high all you want. When you come back down, you still gotta face your problems.
If you could turn back the hands of time, would you have done anything different?
About stop fucking with everything.
Whether it was the lower tab addiction, the cigarette addiction, or selling drugs.
I wouldn't have done nothing. If I could change time, I wouldn't have done either of them. Like, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even smoke. Like, smoking is all right sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't have done it. Probably just be straight clean.
When you say smoking is all right, you're referring to marijuana?
Yes.
And that's the only thing you do at this point?
Yeah. Smoke, I drink every day. I'm not an alcoholic, but I drink every day.
Liquor or beer?
Yeah, liquor. I ain't really getting to the beer like that. I done had one. It's not bad, but it's not no shit that I want to drink every day. That shit made me full when I drunk it. It made me, I ain't like that shit.